You're a basket case. That's what I should say for B. Okay, so we're up to letter P, but so we had A for Anaconda, B for Berimbolo, C for Chael Sonnen, D for Danaher, John Danaher, E for Eddie Bravo, F, that's right, Zach Fuss, no Fuss, Keith Peterson, G for Gogo Pider, H for the Hammer, Chelsea Hackett, I for Stoney's favorite, Imanari roll, J for Jiu-Jitsu, K for Karate, L for leg kick, M for the most controversial answer in all of the book, MMA, N for Nevada. That's right. Home of the fights, boys. Boys, Snags called it. O for O'Neill. Although it was Cam O'Neill, it's an O'Neill, that's for sure. And then we're into letter P. So we're at the tail end of the book, boys. We've only got 3 more episodes of the potty to get through the last letter. So we're doing P through to S. Now, I did give to the listeners not long ago and to the boys, I said, if you do not get the letter S, someone owes me a 6-pack. Because I've talked about this answer several times on the podcast. And no, it's not the word several, I promise you. So boys, let's get into it. Snags might roll a bit different this week. I've actually played by the rules, not my own rules, but I've only picked one answer per thing. Usually I pick 2 or 3 so I can throw the boys, but I've got one per thing, per letter, just to give them a chance this week. The listeners asked to give the boys a chance. So we're going to start letter P, boys, and we're going to start with the producer. Looks like he's ready to roll. Letter P, producer.
I've got it.
DL.
It's a very DL response. I'm going to take punch.
I firmly regret starting with you. Incorrect. Oh, Jesus. The prediction king himself, Stoney, hit me.
Mate, give me the most exciting fighter outside the UFC right now. Bit of Paddy the Baddy Pimblett.
Oh, I wish it was. Paddy. Oh, news for the potty coming on in a couple of weeks. But no, it's not Paddy, unfortunately. Should be, but it's not. Stat man. Brett, you're the only one with not a point yet. I'm looking forward to bringing one back.
I think I might change that here. Yeah, I do.
You got it.
Pretty confident here. Peruvian necktie.
No, very far off.
But you have Berimbolo in there, but you don't have fucking Peruvian necktie.
No, I do not. I've got one of the most exciting, historical and number-grabbing fighters to ever step foot into the cage. And this is why I thought you would have got it, Statman. A man of many stats. Surely you would have got Punk. That's right, boys. CM Punk.
Punk is...
What an insult.
That's terrible.
This is
first John Danaher and then CM Punk. Look at that.
That's right.
0 fucking MMA wins between the two of them in the big book of MMA.
The letter S. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to run through the boys, and then I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Remember, 60 on the line for this one. Snags talked about this several times on the potty. D-L, the biggest letter in the book because it relates to me, but it's not me, I promise you. It's not
never
several.
heard the pick I've got. I ignored what you said. The pick that I've got, you've never said.
It'll hit me anyway. I could be throwing a curveball.
You might have said it. I usually tune out sometimes when you talk, so you might have said it.
Can I predict what DL's going to go?
Yeah, go.
Strikes.
It doesn't sound like it's far off.
It's not. No.
I thought he was actually going to go. I thought he was going to go seats. Like seats in the crowd.
Boys, you're messing with the wrong bloke. I've got too much power with all these buttons.
Okay, go. Hit me.
Sleeve choke.
Sleeve choke.
Yeah.
Okay. Very jiu-jitsu related of you.
I think it's an Ezekiel choke, but it's a sleeve choke.
Okay, we'll move on. I'll tell you that at the end if the sleeve choke is correct. Stoney.
Whether it's 3, 4, or 5, it does not matter, Sugar Snags, because it is stripes.
Stripes. Oh, that's a fun one. I like it.
He says that
Stat.
on the podcast.
Well, I do say stripes a lot on podcast because I'm a 5-stripe white belt, baby. Several times.
Every podcast.
Boys, I've got several stripes on the white belt. Thank you very much. Statman, hit me.
I don't think it'd be a usual podcast if it wasn't for Sugar Snags constantly talking about the band Stem, singers of the Face the Pain theme song from early UFC you know that the Hard Rock with the Gladiator, and they used to the band Stem. You always mention it. DL cuts it out a lot of the time because you keep going on.
Oh, it's in the outtakes. We'll have to release the listeners the outtakes.
The band Stem is my pick.
That's fucking 3 incorrect answers for the most important letter. Stoney would have been probably the closest. I probably should have picked Stripes. Boys, I picked one of the most exciting fighters to ever come out of The Ultimate Fighter, and I've spoken about it several times. Tony Carter, baby. How can you leave him out of the book? The glove. Statman, the disappointment in your face right now. You know that should have been.
I'm just in my head, just picturing him landing spinning back fists on Matt Serra all day. Pretty much.
Tell me about it. It's the only thing.
The Black Beast last fought for a title in November 2018. Since then, Derek Lewis is 4-1. Could we see the heavyweight pick another title opportunity in 2021?
Oh, sorry, boys. That wasn't silence. I was praying that it comes true because I'd love to see it. That's for sure. So, yes, I think he does in Snags' book. And if my prayers are answered, as I'd like to say. Snags sees the Black Beast with a big, dirty old strap around his belt before the end of the year. So, you heard it here first, just like Dogecoin.
Oh, shit. Like all Snags' predictions, that one will also be wrong, DL. So obviously, you got Francis and Stipe. You got John Jones lurking, just out to the side. If Stipe goes down, you got the trilogy, the decider. So they're split 1-1. There's just no room for the Black Beast, I don't think, this year. Doesn't mean that it's not down the line somewhere, but it's not in 2021, boys.
Yeah, Stoney took the words out of my mouth. The answer is no. Ursa for the Newcastle Jets. I reckon he'd kick a ball pretty fucking hard.
For the Newcastle Jet, I think fucking me or DL would get against the Newcastle Jet. Aim a bit higher there. So.
No Crystal Palace, baby, that's for sure.
Let's jump into our listener question. It comes from our good friends at Punchlist MMA. Dale always gives us a bit of love, Dale. So this is his question to the boys.
All right, gentlemen, Dale from Punchlist here. Got something that's been rattling around in my brain since last night, and I need your expertise. With Derek Lewis now sitting atop the most knockout list and all of his wins coming top tier heavyweights, is Derek Lewis a Hall of Famer? Let me know.
Dale, I do. I love the potty. I love the sound of his voice as well. Gets me going early in the morning. The boys are rattled by this question, Snags. Not much so. I'm going to say no, straight up, just because Mr. Lewis would need to hold some straps for a little bit for Snags to clarify a Hall of Fame status, for example. So straight off the bat, love him as fighter. No HOF for Snags just yet.
What a question, DL. This one's had me really stumped. They're pretty compelling stats. I reckon he's giving our stat man a little bit of a run for his money with just the way he's presented that. Yeah, look, I'm probably in the Snags camp here. I think he needs to touch UFC gold. But looking back, I think Uriah Faber's in there. I don't believe, and Statman, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe he's touched UFC gold. I know
famously, no, unfortunately not.
So that criteria of you got to hold the belt to be eligible for Hall of Fame, not necessarily the case. But I think in Derek Lewis's case, he needs to touch it, even bare minimum, an interim maybe. But I think he needs to touch the belt before he's in the Hall of Fame. You look at some of the names in the modern wing, and Derek Lewis just doesn't look right amongst those names.
The Hall of Fame, it is more than just the titles that you've held and stuff like that. So I completely agree about the Uriah Faber point. It is about, I'd say, cultural impact on the sport. And unless there is a significant change of events or significant change in the impact that Derek Lewis brings, I think he will be fondly remembered as a ridiculous knockout power who the rules of MMA don't typically seem to work against him, and a fighter who gives outstanding one-liners, but I just don't see a Hall of Fame career in his future, unfortunately.
He's got a really good Instagram account, though.
Oh, mate, the best. He might win that. Best social.
HOF.
Best social win. Him and
Absolutely.
Paige Van Zandt.
That's the ROB boys, baby.
Just quickly, have a quick look at these names. So Forrest Griffin, BJ Penn, Uriah Faber, Ronda Rousey, Michael Bisping, Rashad Evans, George St. Pierre. So that's a modern wing. You could argue all of them have transcended the sport in some way, shape, or form. Derek Lewis just doesn't have that.
That's not a.
Is Shoney Carter not in there? Did you miss his name?
He's not, but CM Punk, he's on the waiting list. So
good to hear.
I'm at the pack here with 4, so holding it up. The good thing is, though, I'm calling it a third because Statman and Snags are equal on 6.
It's not how that works, but okay.
No, not at all. You're firm last, I would say. Trust me. Trust me, I've been there several times.
Several times. Statman had a good UFC 258. You got 3, and you got 4 across the 2 cards. And then the ever reliable, and if you're not investing money in this lad, you're laughing at yourself because he's on an absolute tee. He's got 7. You got a nice little bonus point too. So well done, Stoney. Kicking goals like always, mate. Well done.
Mate, I appreciate it. It's I don't throw this term around lightly, DL, but you look at the most title defenses in the UFC. We got Demetrius Johnson and John Jones tied at 11. Boys, I'm coming into my 27th 27th title defense.
Fucking idiot. That is a small. Have you got big hands or is that a small belt?
Look how small the title is.
The 27th title defense. And finally, the UFC have sent me this bad boy in the post, express post, 26 weeks overdue. Yeah, I feel like even on my worst day, I'm still beating you boys at your best day. So I don't know where someone's going to emerge to truly challenge this year, DL. I hope it's Sugar Snags, but I've got no faith whatsoever.
And if it's for that bet, I'll start throwing them away again.
I can head down to Casey's Toys Warehouse to pick up a fucking cheap $15 belt.
Jesus Christ. Do you know what, Stoney, you can keep your belt. I'm going to keep my trend of Mr. Consistency this year.
Yourself, Stat, man. This was $24.95 with $15 postage. So you
just, I hope you didn't spend that. Don't spend it on the RIB account, please.
Fuck me.
Getting a sore shoulder holding this bad boy up there. Next segment.
Mate, you must
12 pounds of gold.
Mate, you need to hit the gym then because that's the smallest piece of gold I've seen in my life. If that's hurting your shoulder, I've got grave concerns. Mate, subscribe to Only Snags, give you a couple of fitness tips.
It does.
Oh, it does look good.
Just catches it.
Oh, Jesus.
Just a man who's got 2, one over his both shoulders.
Wait till July, boys.
Oh, here you go. Second one.
I won't be able to fit him into this room. His head won't get through the door.
Made his professional Muay Thai debut. It was for a title, winning the AFMT 201-pound championship. He would retire undefeated 2 years later when he made his professional MMA debut, which was also for a title, the TKO heavyweight title. He won that, and he has not lost since. Go with Stoney.
Yeah, look, I made this mistake in the Junior Dos Santos Cyril Gain fight. I tipped against him. I'm not making that mistake. I'm just going to keep this very short and sweet. That said, paying $3.30. This went on in the group chat. Rosenstruck, I don't think the difference is that great. Now, I know the stat man, shut me down very promptly and said he thinks Cyril Gain is going to walk through this one, but I think they're a lot closer than what the odds suggest, but I'm sticking with Cyril Gain. He was very impressive, and that last win against JDS really made me take note.
I'll go second, considering I'm second place.
Interesting. Go for it.
I think it's time for...
It's always time for Tool of the Week. Thank you so much, DL. Just quickly, need to give a disclaimer. Our good friend, number one nominee, Phil, the MMA dude, he has absolutely cooked it since he was named the Twitter Tool of the Week. Boys, I kid you not. I thought you were laughing in the background, Sugar Snacks. Just pipe down. Dale, hit me. What's one of the worst daytime soap operas you've ever seen? Bold and the Beautiful.
Yeah, that one.
Days of Our Lives. Young and the Rest. I kid you not. MMA Twitter is turning into something worse than those train wreck TV shows because Phil, the MMA dude, has been having a Twitter beef with a guy called Boogerbeard. Now, people familiar with MMA Twitter will know this beef quite well. It all started, we don't care how it started, Dale. We're going to cut to the chase. Boogerbeard has been kicked off Twitter. Phil, the MMA dude, has reached out to a mutual friend so that the two could reconnect and talk to squash their beef. And he's released a statement via his Twitter account apologizing for any wrongdoing on his behalf. Now, boys, Phil, for fuck's sake, there's a lot of tools on MMA Twitter and I need to get across all of them, but I'm too busy being preoccupied by you being tagged in my Twitter feed. Give it a rest, son. I need to look at some other tools. So DL, he is damn close. He's not getting the second nomination in 3 weeks, but we're not going to do it, Phil. Pull your head in. We're going to go somewhere else, DL. At UFC Opinions. Now, just hold that because that Twitter
dear God, that is
entirely relevant. That Twitter handle is entirely relevant to the content.
It's like a fucking gold mine here.
So ESPN, they put up a quote from Curtis Blades, and I'll just read out Curtis Blades' quote because this paints the context. I'm out here trying to feed my family. I don't care if you want me to risk my win bonus, which is 100,000. You want me to risk 100,000 to stand and bang with a guy that has terrible wrestling? Nah, I'm just not going to do it. So that was Curtis Blades' quote. First thing, my mind goes bang because Curtis Blades did the complete opposite to what he just said, and he tried to stand and bang, and we know how that ended. So, Curtis, you're lucky you're not winding up on Tool of the Week. But UFC Opinions has chimed in. And he says, nobody's mad that he wrestles. We are mad that he just lays on top and does nothing. Does nothing. Fuck me. So Curtis Blades has 14 wins, 10 of which are TKOs. That's a 71 point something % times that Curtis Blades wins his opponents left unconscious or in a bloody pool. Now, he's, laid down on Volkov. That's one fight. That's the most recent one. But is this man forgetting, the Junior Dos Santos, Alistair Overeem? At UFC Opinions, change your handle straight away to at trash UFC Opinions. If you got the audacity to call yourself UFC Opinions, you want a fucking better ones than that, DL. Now, I've not even checked if these people follow us, and it doesn't matter, DL, because no one is spared on Stoney's Tool of the Week. So at UFC Opinions, pull your head in because that was absolute outrageous, and that's why you're this week's.
Yeah, outrageous. It's
crazy. Gets the blood boiling.
Oh, absolutely.
Holy dolly.
You're right, Snags. You looked a bit scared during that.
I feel like I have just been home and away and done something wrong to Alf Stewart. Absolutely blowing up at me from across the diner because I've spilt a milkshake in one of the kids. Holy dolly. You need to calm down.
Blahovic joins Amanda Nunes and Weili Zhang as current UFC champions who lost their MMA debut.
Is that a premonition or
short, sweet, baby?
Is that a spoiler?
Is that your pick?
What?
Sounded like a spoiler. Like has he already lost it?
He lost their MMA debut.
My bad.
What did I say?
Oh, you had me confused. I thought you were saying.
I was feeding off Stoney. I thought I missed it.
So yeah, he, Amanda Nunes and Weili Zhang are champions who all lost their debuts.
In the promotion. Debuts. Done. Beauty.
No, not even the promotion.
Boys. Jesus. First off,
shall I reread it?
On track, and now 2, you're not listening to the stat man. Pull yourselves together. Pull yourselves together.
Jan Blachowicz joins Amanda Nunes and Weili Zhang as current UFC champions who lost their MMA debut.
Are you saying he's lost the belt?
It's a very, very confusing stat there, Statman. Here's a stat for you. Israel Adesanya will be 8 years younger than Jan when they fight. Fighters with an 8-year advantage went 43 and 28 in 2020, winning 60% of the time. Now, that is how you do a stat, Statman.
Wow.
Everyone's trying to outdo Sarah Craig now. Have you noticed that theme?
I have.
I do this out of love, guys. Jesus Christ. Fucking hell.
Oh, shit. No, Adesanya, the superior striker, that's where this fight will take place. Jan would be wise to try and clinch and get in some dirty boxing. I know he's a great kickboxing record as well, so maybe he pulls something out that we're just not expecting, but despite moving up in weight, height and reach still with Israel Adesanya, just as he likes it. Only 2 inches in reach, which is fairly negligible compared to some of the advantages he has had, but nonetheless, it is still an advantage. I just see him very similar to the Paulo Costa fight in game plan, but I see Jan putting up more of a resistance than Paulo. So I am going, my heart says it's probably not going to be as early as what I would like to say. So I'm going to go a 3rd round TKO for Israel Adesanya.
Look, boys, good pick. And if you didn't know, Izzy is actually the first MMA fighter that's been signed to a Puma deal as well. So, boys, that's a bit of a stat for you from Snags, that's for sure. Look, Snags is going to get Izzy. I don't think we can go past him. Fan favorite of the potty. And then the champ as well, I think it's going to get it done. But interesting fight, this one. Jan, who knows? But I'm going to get Izzy. I'm going to go Izzy round 3 TKO. And actually, do you know what? Stoney, you're a piece of shit. I'm going to go round I'm going to go decision. Fuck yeah.
Jesus. Fucking employing strategy from late last year.
Well, here's another stat for you guys. Jan Blachowicz has actually fought 3 middleweights turned light heavyweights in his UFC run. He got TKO'd by Thiago Santos, who we do forget used to be a middleweight, which is just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. He KO'd Luke Rockhold brutally and then took a very, very, very close split decision over Jacare Souza only 3 fights ago. So a lot of it's based off that. I didn't expect Jan Blachowicz to look as good as he did against both Corey Anderson and Dominic Reyes. I think I doubted him a little bit after the Jacare Souza fight. Not to say that Jacare Souza is a bad fighter by any stretch of the imagination, but a little past his prime in a division up gave me cause to doubt Jan Blachowicz. His destruction of Dominic Reyes was incredible to watch. Israel Adesanya is coming off perhaps the most amazing performance of a champion in 2020. The destruction of Paulo Costa. I would have to say that Israel Adesanya is a worthwhile favorite going into this fight. I am going to take him by round 3 TKO.
I do not have any Izzy stats, so I'm just going to move on to my picks. 2 belts for my boy Izzy, and it's going to be a second round TKO. It's too smart, Izzy. We'll spend the first round just studying Jan's game plan. Just keep him slightly on the outside, and then he'll just chip away. Question mark kick. I gave you boys at inside at the start of the podcast. Bang. Izzy. All over, son. TKO. Boom. Round 2.
Yeah. All right, boys. Crystal Palace have not lost. We broke that stat.
Let's go.
They're missing their best player, Wilfred Zaha. I would say their only good player.
Like brutal.
Their record without him, boys, is 2 wins and 18 losses the last 20 times he's missed.
Wow.
But we're playing Brighton.
Oh, talk to me.
And we're paying $5.50, and Brighton are not that good. So I actually think this is good value, boys.
Oh,
contrary to all the evidence I've just presented, I've never let you down. I'm pleading with you. Just let me put this one on. Statman, you've scoffed at Crystal Palace every time I've put them in. Can I get a nod?
Would you like me to scoff again just so I can cement Crystal Palace? What is
We're
this?
doing it, boys. $5.50.
Yes, he's on.
All right. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be 1-0, but we're not going to put the result. That's just.
Oh, just imagine if I put Rosenstricht in there instead of that. $3.15, $5 something. Boys.
All right, Statman, who have we got?
I'm heading to UFC 259. We've spoken about it a little bit at length before the podcast. One of the amazing fights on the undercard that we couldn't fit onto the main card. Dominic Cruz versus Casey Kenny. I'm going Dominic Cruz's even odds, $1.90. I'm taking Cruz.
Boys, that wraps out episode 43 of the podcast. If you like what we're doing, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. Please check out and subscribe our YouTube channel as well. We'll start to put up some original content on there also. Please also don't forget the Humble Gi giveaway is only a few days to go.
Stay humble, baby.
It's pushed well above 500 entries, so it's going to be absolutely crazy when we draw that. We'll probably draw that on the Sunday, and it closes Saturday the 27th Australian time. That's it.
Have to do a live draw, surely.
That's us for episode 43, boys. I'm producer DL.
I am your author of the podcast, Shoot Snags, baby.
I'm the stat man.
And my name is Stoney.
And we'll run it back with you guys on the next Run It Back podcast.